According to LendingTree, 62% of Americans are eating less fast food, as menu prices have increased by roughly 60% over the last decade, with McDonald's alone doubling their prices. And with fast food prices far exceeding the rate of inflation, roughly 80% of Americans now view it as a luxury. Raising the question, how did the cheapest meals in the country become just another way to fatten shareholders' pockets?
So basically in country where I live, fast food was like always a luxury, like in here, like in other parts of the world, there is like this thing that you live with your parents, and in my country you basically view McDonald's as a premium thing, like you would go and eat it, and now it is not even that good enough because it has a really good competition from other restaurants that are just as cheap, and they actually make better quality. When I was like kid, I would like crave it way more. Like it would be, like you want to get out of your house and consume as much as fast food as possible, because I don't know, it is just the way it was marketed. I mean, we all are like that. All I wanted to ever do was eat Burger King. I actually liked Burger King way more before. Now I kind of like McDonald's more. So all I wanted to do is go out of my house and consume as much as fast food and as much as burgers I can. And as I grow up older, I realized that neither the fast food is cheap nor it is good enough, Like I would rather spend my money on a good restaurant or even an average restaurant, or just order food from like a good restaurant than consume more and more fast food. As I started to go in gym and realized calories and all that stuff, I am like, I don't really like fast food that much. Yeah, it was always a premium thing in my country.
While fast food was originally intended to be a quick and affordable alternative for the working class, with McDonald's famously celebrating that a family of 4 could be served in under a minute for less than $1, decades of extreme consolidation have left many of today's largest chains charging roughly $40 to feed the average family, as the industry has fundamentally shifted away from serving customers and towards extracting as much profit as possible from each meal. One of the largest mechanisms behind this consolidation is franchising, as franchise chains now capture roughly 75% of fast food revenue, despite operating substantially fewer locations than mom-and-pop independents. The adoption of this model accelerated after McDonald's unprecedented expansion throughout the 50s and 60s demonstrated how every new location could generate rent, recurring royalties, and franchise fees, while shifting most of the cost and operating risk onto the franchisee, creating a financial model that nearly every established chain would eventually adopt, as it provided the scale needed to outspend competitors, dominate advertising, secure the most valuable real estate, demand enormous volumes of food at prices smaller operators can never negotiate, and offset declining sales in one market through revenue generated across thousands of global locations. Meaning that instead of local hamburgers.
Wait, let me check how much McDonald's franchise are there involved. I'm not getting a good enough picture. Okay, am I recording this? Okay, so McDonald's has already 40,000 locations. I mean, can you imagine? Like, that is too much. And from this I can see they are not really there in Africa much, because it would become too unaffordable for them. Basically, they operate every part in the world apart from Africa and like Middle Eastern countries.
Stands and sandwich shops competing for customers through lower prices and better value. More than 14,000 McDonald's, 7,000 Burger Kings, 6,000 Wendy's, and thousands of Subways, Jersey Mike's, and Jimmy John locations now shape what Americans expect to pay across entire categories of fast food. Today, among the 20 largest fast food chains in America, just 2 were founded within the last 50 years, with not a single one founded in the 21st century. And even across the nation's
basically, America is not home to farmers, it's actually home to the fast food restaurants. It is actually crazy how little money the farmers make and how much money these all guys make. Can you imagine, like, how how does a farmer really benefit anything at all? It is like a lose-lose situation unless you have like a lot of land, you know.
500 largest restaurant chains, these same 10 dominant fast food brands account for roughly 44% of all sales. And after using their scale to essentially eliminate local competition, fast food chains have turned towards loyalty programs designed to disguise higher prices as a great deal. A 2025 analysis found that the top 20
I really hate this loyalty type of crap, you know. Like every big market or mall you go to, and every big like shopping center there is, they all have like their royalty card and that bullshit. Each and everything has a royalty card. So what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to carry like 6 or 7 card. You have one for the gym, you have one for the Starbucks, you have one for McDonald's, you have one for KFC. It is just insane. Like I never really liked this. I want to get in, get the food and get out. That is just what I want. Come on, this royalty bullshit is annoying.
20%
And the fact you have to remember all of them, like, oh, I have purchased this thing and I'm getting 10% off the next time I come here. That is so insane.
of loyalty users generate roughly 55 to 70% of loyalty revenue, spending 2 to 3 times more than the average customer as
Yeah.
every purchase becomes one step closer towards a
Shouldn't this be reversed? Shouldn't they spend less? I mean, why are they even remembering all of this thing? I would rather pay more and get out quickly than remember all of this.
free reward. In Q1 of 2026, Starbucks announced that reward members generate nearly 60% of all US company operated revenue, even though earning a free drink or breakfast item can require nearly $200 in purchases. Even McDonald's CEO has acknowledged that loyalty adoption increases both customer visits and
$200 for like one drink? Wow.
spending, effectively proving that the value these chains now provide has essentially nothing to do with quick and affordable food, and everything to do with making customers pay more for the perception of it. And while these chains have somewhat effectively manufactured the illusion of
They kind of never look like what they serve. You know, this is what I like about Japan, you know. In Japan you actually see something on an advertisement and you actually see the wrapper and menu of the thing. You will get exactly what you want. And in other countries like mine, it is just waste.
affordability, their market control also allows them to sell substantially lower quality food. Before rampant consolidation, fast food chains relied far more heavily on regional produce, beef, and dairy suppliers, allowing them to compete through freshness and stronger relationships with the communities they served. Today, however, going out to eat is essentially just figuring out which chain can heat up Cisco food better. While the largest chains negotiate more directly with an already consolidated meat processing industry, most major fast food brands rely on Cisco, US Foods, or Performance Food Group, where yet again, despite thousands of independent distributors still existing, these 3 corporations alone control roughly 35% of the food service distribution market, while the 5th largest controls only around 1%. And because these distributors make more money by purchasing enormous volumes of standardized products that can be sold across thousands of locations, they gain immense influence over what chains pay and which ingredients become financially practical to serve at scale.
Yeah, that is why the prices of all other things keeps going up at the same time. You know, before you had like one of those restaurants that would be cheap and good. But I mean, that would be a like secret location where they serve everything trash and there will be like one specific thing that they serve good. You know, it would be like those fast food trucks or fast food carts that they used to have. Now they just have gotten rid of everything. Now you just have this big franchise and they will charge same everywhere you go. So it's like you are basically paying the most amount of money you can while getting like basic stuff.
Often favoring products designed around consistent margins rather than freshness or regional quality, leaving much of the industry dependent on frozen, pre-portioned, and heavily processed products designed for longer shelf lives, requiring less labor to prepare, and tasting is somewhat the same across thousands of locations, ultimately leaving customers to pay record prices for little more than the chain's branding, while receiving the exact same nationally or even globally sourced
That is
mystery
exactly what
food
I said.
engineered to feed the bottom line.
I
And
should
as if
just
the
shut
industry
up.
were not already consolidated enough, private equity has spent decades absorbing many of the same legacy brands that franchising made nearly impossible to compete with. Roark Capital's restaurant portfolio now includes Subway, Carl's Jr., Hardee's, Culver's, and the parent companies behind Dunkin', Arby's, Sonic, Jimmy John's, Buffalo Wild Wings, Baskin-Robbins, Cinnabon, and several other major chains. And then Blackstone recently acquired a majority stake in Jersey Mike's through a deal reportedly valued at roughly $8 billion. Blackstone has openly described franchise businesses as attractive investments because of their scalability, low capital requirements, and steady cash flow growth, allowing private equity firms to acquire established chains, place much of the acquisition debt onto the business itself, and extract returns through fees, dividends, or an eventual sale, turning
Like these guys have unreal amount of money. Can you imagine buying something like Pizza Hut or McDonald's? Not even McDonald's, it is big enough for them to like buying an entire franchise that is so big. It is just insane,
brands
man.
built over decades into financial assets where the strongest financial incentives
It is a good thing in my country, you know, there are not like this many franchise. I mean they are there and they are like dominating in cities, but you can still find more of a spots where you can go and enjoy food.
no longer come from providing affordable food, but from raising fees, cutting labor, shrinking portions, and replacing ingredients to increase returns. Proving that at this point, deciding which fast food chain to eat at is really just which private equity portfolio you would like to feed. And while the industry continues brushing all of this under the rug by insisting that rising food costs and broader economic conditions are the sole reason behind increased menu prices, those pressures do not make charging high.
I never, you know, Starbucks was like always premium to me. Basically, when they straight from when they came out and straight till now, I never think it will be a good idea to go to Starbucks. You know, it is always like something like you see and you say yourself, I am too poor for that.
Higher prices, serving lower quality food, or extracting more from workers, unavoidable parts of operating a successful fast food chain. To demonstrate that, I spoke with Kathy Terry, the co-founder of P. Terry's, an Austin-based hamburger chain now celebrating its
I don't know
21st
what that
anniversary with 37 company-owned and operated locations and more than 1,800 employees, where she explains why so many independent chains eventually sell to private equity, and why P. Terry's instead
Yeah.
chose to establish an employee ownership trust.
So this is going to happen basically in every country, like, you know, as the private equity grows more and more, and in even in developing countries like there are so many developing countries, as the fast food chains, you know, grow more and more and private equity comes in, basically they will just dominate everything that there is. Now they are currently dominating in majority of western countries. Slowly, like America, slowly they will come to Europe and then they will kind of spread out, you know.
And profit-sharing model designed to always give back to the customers and workers responsible for its success.
The issue is there's a lot of people that start a business and then they take on investors, right? They take on
Yeah.
venture capitalists.
And you lose all
Well,
of
venture
your control,
capitalists
man.
want their money back, right? And so they'll infuse you with a lot of capital to expand. But there's a cost with that growth, right? Then all of a sudden you have to make choices that not necessarily you would have made before, right? And it really may affect your culture because you're making decisions to grow faster than you normally would, or your culture would allow you to grow, right?
To be honest, like, you know, if the like fast food culture was like a culture because the food was fast and it was like decent and it was cheap, you know, so the culture was never really there in fast food. Basically the culture is only there in if you like say you try a traditional dish, like, you know, you try something like sushi or something like from Japan. Like the culture was traditionally there. Now, if you say you consume noodles, like those instant noodles that there are there, that is not what the traditional Japanese noodles and Hakka noodles used to be. You know what I'm saying? That is just a fast rip-off of what the actual thing was. And fast food now is basically rip-off of what it was. They are like, they are not even like fast food, they are just restaurants. You know what I'm
I would
saying?
question what the intention is. So, an employee ownership trust is something fairly new. It came from the UK. They've done it a long time in the UK. It's fairly new in the US, but it's basically a trust that is set up for the benefit of the employees, but they don't really retain the shares. They don't hold the shares. It sits in a trust. But what it does, and the wonderful thing about it, is it protects the culture forever, for perpetuity. So basically, it's a tool that allows Patrick and I to gift shares, but also share sales. Allow us to sell shares to the trust. So it allows us to get some equity out. But the actual document itself, the purpose of the trust is to make sure that we always sell high quality burgers at an affordable price, that we always take care of the employee, that we'll always have that particular time. That most exciting and interesting. How's it from P. Terry? Potential.
And sharing, such as P. Terry's, prove that a fast food business can support profit sharing, substantially higher wages, interest-free employee loans, Christmas bonuses, and even a birthday cake for every worker, all while serving locally sourced food at or below industry prices. Many of the largest fast food chains continue blaming rising menu prices.
See, this is a thing that corporate do that I don't really get. Like, they will organize parties, HR and all that. They will organize parties, they will organize games and all of that thing. I mean, come on, just increase the salary. No one is there to stay with you. Like, everyone wants to go to their houses as quickly as they can. No one wants to celebrate their birthday in front of their colleagues and employees. If they want to do, they would rather get out of an office and do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why it is being promoted. I just hated it. Like, I went to my job, like they would basically, uh, you know, serve cakes to the top performing employees and all of that bullshit. I mean, you know what I'm saying? To stop wasting my time. It is just useless.
And declining quality on
I mean, they don't really care about them anyway, you know?
the workers, asking for wages that keep up with the cost of living. Despite today's minimum wage worker earning nearly 50% less in inflation-adjusted wages than a minimum wage worker did in 1968, fast food giants such as McDonald's continue presenting wages as a leading driver of higher prices, even after raising menu prices by more than 100% over the last decade and spending roughly $2 billion on stock buybacks in 2025. Meanwhile, Starbucks blamed wage pressures for higher prices while awarding its CEO a compensation package worth roughly $96 million after only 4 months on the job. The company also provided him with private jet travel for both business and personal use, and paid for his housing in Seattle after he chose not to relocate from California, proving that the industry can always find billions of dollars for shareholders and executives, but somehow treat workers asking for enough to afford rent as the greatest threat to affordability.
When I first started, anybody that knew me, I was super, super shy. I wouldn't have tried anything new, I gained a lot of confidence working here. It was really nice to be able to grow within the company.
Like, to be honest, now as the things are getting crazy and wars and stuff, and how much expensive it is getting, like, people would literally apply for a McDonald's job rather than a corporate job. You know what I'm saying? Even if you are selected in corporate, the competition is so tough, you would have to work out of your way. Like, you would have to go out of what is expected of you just to stay there. It is just crazy, man.
Within these past 10 years, just starting as a crew member and then becoming a shift lead and joining the training team and getting the train, like 10 people at a time, it really helped me gain confidence. And just knowing that they like would give me opportunities to grow like that, as from 17 to now, it's just been truly a blessing. Like I'm really appreciative of everything that they've done.
And so what I hope that we're beginning to recognize is that
Like, do you think if it was a corporate thing, wouldn't, like, here is the thing, you can get hired in like McDonald's and everything like that, fast food chain. But imagine spending 10 years there, or you would have basically switched 5 different companies in like 2 years. If you had a corporate job, where would you be now? Like, I mean, you never know. I mean, some people get lucky, but I still feel like the growth thing is the major hurdle of getting like the entry level jobs in McDonald's and everything like that.
maybe beyond like job search platforms, the fast food industry is as greedy as it possibly gets. There is absolutely no reason why fast food companies cannot give us as affordable meals as possible, cannot pay their employees fair wages. There's absolutely no reason why we can't get the food in a relatively decent time. And more importantly, there's absolutely no reason why the food that we receive, even though it is more on the affordable side of things, isn't decent quality. Like, I think that if you recognize the fact that your grandparent was able to receive a cheaper meal by people that were paid more in a far quicker time, and it was healthier, not the most healthy thing ever, but healthier than what it is that we're receiving now, I don't understand why not every single one of us isn't stopping, hasn't boycotted or hasn't stopped going to fast food. Like the stat says, 62% of Americans are eating less fast food. Isn't stopped. So that means that the majority of us are still going at least once or twice a week, probably more.
I mean, you can't really avoid fast food, like it is, basically what has happened is the vegetables and like the materials and beef and all of that has gotten, like the raw ingredients for the food has gotten so expensive that it is just more expensive to make your own food too. Like, imagine you have to plan a dish. Okay, now you'll plan a dish. You have to arrange all of your utensils. You have to wash them. First of all, you have to arrange them. You have to make the dish. You have to eat the stuff. Then you have to wash the stuff again. Like, you are seeing how much process is getting involved in there. And not everybody has like time to do that.
And so, I personally do not eat fast food, other than P. Terry's. But I've only been to McDonald's maybe twice in my life. I will say, beyond thinking that...
Yeah, I also, when I was like kid, I was like fascinated by fast food, like we would go and consume burgers like every Saturday, Sunday, and we would just hang out, stay out when I was in school. Now it is like I would not even go to a restaurant for that. Here is a story, okay? I went to McDonald's once with my family. Alright, so I basically told them it was a big McDonald's, like, like 2-story McDonald's, like there is like a ground floor and there is like a first floor, or like 2-story building. You understand what I'm saying? It was like a bigger McDonald's version, like premium version, okay? So basically I went there. I told my family to sit above upstairs and I'll get the food. So I paid the thing, paid the money like actual inside, and the food was ready. When I took the order, it wasn't mine, it was somebody else. So I spent like 3, maybe 5 or 10 minutes sitting there while my family is up there. Can you imagine how much pain that is? If I were to go in a normal restaurant, I would be sitting with them and the waiter would come and serve the food. Alright, now I have to spend my time below and carry the food with me and go above. Like, what is this bullshit? And I'm paying the same amount of money anyway. So why would I ever go there? It is just a hassle, and and basically they were keep trying to sell me a bundle that I didn't want. So if you buy a burger and like Coca-Cola and you don't want French fries, or they are like, well sir, you can get French fries and it will be just 5% more cost, or it would be just like 10 more or 5 more. Like, it is just insane how they do it. I just hate
Sandwiches
that
are like
stuff.
nutritionally kind of one of the, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't think that you're really getting any value out of a sandwich. I do kind of like Jersey Mike's. But when I found out that Jersey Mike's was being acquired by Blackstone, I said, I'm never going to eat there again. Ever. Ever. So something that I like, I'm saying it's not going to happen because I do not support Blackstone.
Like, I mean, then you won't watch YouTube videos, don't use your computer. I don't know. Is there a really way to avoid all of this? You don't use electricity. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not going to pay with my hard-earned dollar. I work very hard for my money. I'm not going to give you my hard-earned dollar and consume greed in return. And I think that it's really important that we understand that, one, we have so much more power than we may recognize, but also you work very hard for your money. And so something that I've mentioned in so many videos about so many different topics, but specifically
It's like,
about
like you would support the small restaurant and small fast food chain if you want. But like, there is no, most of the people don't think like that. You know what I'm saying? They just want their food. They don't want to care about anything else. And I'm similar in that way. You know, I won't go out of my way to, like, imagine if there are like two restaurants, one is far away and one is close by. Probably the close by one will be like a big franchise owned McDonald's. So I won't go out of my way to travel to another restaurant. Like, you know what I'm saying? At the end, they are convenient, and that is why they win almost every time. Convenience always wins. Preference is like third or fourth category.
the fast food video I did over a year ago and then the restaurant video I did, was that we need to be doing consumer boycotts. Like, we need to be doing it for so many different things. But most importantly, we need to be doing this. Like, I do not see the incentive anymore in any regard, unless you're in like a fast food desert and you're starving, of why any of us are eating fast food. They cannot continue to keep getting away with this if we are buying food from them. It's as simple as that. Now, the unfortunate
Yeah, I
reality
think
is
that-
the economy
that
as a
is fair.
whole is quickly escalating further into this K-shaped economy, to where there will be a point.
See this video, you know, like when you go to gym, you kind of start improving yourself. Basically, now I look at things and I don't even see the food. I just see the calories. You know, I always see in calories. Like, for example, if I would include a photo, like you would see the stuff, and you would be like sugar, 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 sugar.
Where our
Like, it is just
consumer
insane.
economy will only depend on the top 10% of Americans. And so when that point comes, then the majority of us consumers become economically irrelevant. And I don't know, I think it becomes harder for our dollar to really have a voting power. But that time hasn't happened yet. And so what we really have to be doing is we have to be thinking, what are ways that I can begin voting with my hard-earned dollar and getting as many people as I can together to do a consumer boycott? Like, imagine the difference that would make. Imagine how concerned McDonald's and Burger King and Arby's or Wendy's or whatever these companies are if we all decided to actually get together and stop purchasing their products. Because it's the most financially sound business decision to be able to offer. Just think about it from a marketing standpoint. If you found out that a customer or that a company was paying their workers substantially above industry standard, you were able to get an affordable product in return, and it was pretty decent quality, and like it was clean and people were nice, it's a no-brainer. They would be so busy, like unbelievably busy, and they know this. But they know that they don't really have to do that. Like, we're not demanding it from them. And I just want to do a message for all of the people out there that are, I get hit with it so much, that are so anti-minimum wage. You are not paid to be these companies' accountant. You're not on the payroll. So I don't understand why you're defending a corporation. Like, I think that this AI race has clearly shown that we need to be human first.
It's like,
So I don't.
So I have a explanation of this. Basically, everyone invests in like stock market and mutual fund and stuff like that. So if you have invested in like, I don't know, McDonald's, and basically you have invested in like, there isn't a way you can't invest. Even if you don't want, the sum of your money will automatically, by your employer side, will automatically go to these accounts like 401k, mutual funds, stocks, bonds. You know what I'm saying? And you are automatically invested in them even if you don't want to. Like, no one is going out of their way to not invest in them. Basically, it is the only way you can invest in something apart from like gold and real estate. So you are kind of forced to, what I'm saying, you are kind of forced to take the corporate side because you yourself are being invested in them. And if Blackstone goes down, if McDonald's sales goes down, there are like there are so many millions of people basically in every other country too. There are so many people that invest in US stocks. Even I have invested myself. So if McDonald's were to lose some market share, then my investment will fall too.
Understand
I think like people know more. People know more about their investment and they are actually smart. They are not just dumb.
that why, whenever it comes to paying people fairly, we never seem to be human first. The reason why we're in
We don't care about anyone else.
this issue, broadly speaking, and basically every sort of industry you can think of, is because we've been corporation first. We've been billionaire first. We haven't been human first. And I can guarantee you, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, McDonald's, Amazon, whatever you can think of, they're not going to all of a sudden say, let's be human first. That comes from us. So we have to decide within our own lives, what are the steps that we're going to do to be able to make a difference, to pave the path to a better tomorrow? How do we support the companies that are actively doing that? And how do we have hope that it's going to work? Like, those are the two things that you have to do. But I also want to take this time to be able to just kind of discuss other local companies that, or local institutions that have really been able to kind of help support me and that I feel like I always want to be able to contribute. Because again, I think that we need to stop talking about all of the companies that are doing bad and begin promoting the ones that are doing good. Obviously, P. Terry's, after every one of my videos, I like to go there and I celebrate as soon as I publish it. When I hit 1,000 subscribers, when I hit 100,000 subscribers, 200,000, it would have been 300 if I was here in Austin, is I go to P. Terry's. Like a simple $15 meal, $10 meal. I eat quite a bit, but, to me,
You know what? I actually do a similar kind of a thing. I would just like I every time go to the same restaurant that is like a small scale restaurant. I just get food wherever every time from there. I will never go out of my way unless I'm traveling to any other restaurant. Basically, there are just 3 or 4 good restaurants that I have figured it out, and like I think they make decent food and they are good enough for me. They are not even premium restaurant. They are just average, good restaurants that I would actually go to.
a little bit more hope.
Yeah, I mean that was a good video. I was actually going to make a video on my second channel similar about this, but I was like, I mean it is pretty much the same topic that he has, so might as well react it.
Hope than when you
I
started
was
the
like,
video.
it's okay. It is a good video. I mean, I knew that I wouldn't be able to make any video as good as him anyway, so